Hey guys, and welcome to Hills of a Home, where we discuss relationships, careers, and life, and so much more.
So, ladies, I have been thinking about girl code. Does it actually exist or nah?
Girl code, does it exist?
Yeah.
It should.
I mean, it depends who the girl is. Who is the girl? And why does the code need to be with her? So I really do feel like it depends on who the person is. Like, there's definitely certain girls who the girl code for me, I will shut my eyes and do what I need to do. And there's certain girls that I'll be like, nah, that can't run. And yeah, I definitely do feel like it depends on the closeness, the relationship, and what the scenario is. So,
I agree.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I feel like girl code exists, aka there's no reason for you to be dating any of my exes, any of my past links, if you can call my phone. So if you have my number, as in we've had conversations, we've had dialogues, we've gone out together, we've partied together, we've chilled together, and I brought you in my space, whether it's that we're besties or we might just be kind of like acquaintances through a friend. If there is this kind of connection, then I'm definitely going to feel away if I find out that so-and-so is seeing my ex or so-and-so has just started linking a guy that I used to see. Like, babe, do you know how many people are in London? Do you know how many people are in this world? But it is my ex you want to go and marry.
Okay, but Mercedes, never. What if God has ordained that your ex is the person that they are supposed to be with?
That is for me and God to have a conversation about, okay?
I know, okay, but
God will have the conversation.
Then God says, listen, you two aren't together, so what is it? Are you not going to move on?
Can I just check something?
Yeah. Sorry, Tony.
When we're saying girl code, what does that even mean in the grand scheme of this discussion? Like, what are we saying when we mean girl code?
Okay, yeah, let's have a definition actually.
So girl code to me means that you pick our friendship over the guy. And that's what I hear when I think of girl code.
Yeah.
When it comes to friendship, so if I've got a best friend who's a girl and she wants to date my ex, that is a no-go. She knows it's a no-go. I will never date her ex, etc. However, if it's, I don't know, say for example, Mercedes, one of your friends decides to date my ex, like, she's not going to be like, oh yeah, that's Mercedes' friends, I can't go there. You know, do your thing, innit? That's, you know, we're not really friends. And I would do the same with her. She's not my friend. Yeah, we have a mutual friend, but we're not Batty and Bench. Do you get what I mean? So why can't you go there?
And according to Urban Dictionary, because we should always be consulting Urban Dictionary.
Of course, we love a good bit of Urban Dictionary.
It basically says, girl code, if you're close friends with a girl, you aren't allowed to F with any of her exes or anyone that they had a thing with if it lasted for longer than 3 months. There's conditions.
A thing.
Come
on.
A thing. You can't.
No, I'm sorry, but if you are promiscuous, yeah, and you enjoy sleeping, when I say promiscuous, there's nothing wrong with being promiscuous, by the way. But say you enjoy fucking a lot of people, you're not going to tell me, oh yeah, I've been there, you can't touch him. No, I'm sorry, for me, that doesn't count. Like,
I think it should only count if it's like a serious ex, serious ex. If it's a thing of a guy that you used to date, it didn't work out with you guys. So why lock him down? Like, it didn't work. No. So maybe it's going to work with the friend. Maybe you two got together so that your friend could meet him.
However, go on.
This is why women empowerment is flawed. It is absolutely flawed at its root.
Women empowerment is ran by mean girls. I don't even subscribe to it anyway.
I'm sorry, yeah. But like, okay, cool. I get it. You know, I probably wouldn't really care about a boyfriend that I dated when I was like 16, 17 and now I'm like 27, 28. Cool, I get that. But I just think I would feel uncomfortable knowing that I was seeing somebody that I've got a relationship with, ex or past link or situationship. It's just kind of like, do I have to go there? Is it by force? Does that mean that when you were when I was around him.
You were
like I was looking at him. Like there's so
maybe.
many layers. Like maybe, but it's just like, come on, there's so many other guys out there.
Do you know what?
Let's stick together.
I can't lie. If the connection is really, really strong, depending on how, like if the connection is really strong,
yeah,
I wouldn't put it off completely. I'm sorry, I wouldn't, because sometimes I think to myself, you know, like they always say, for example, that, you know, love is a gamble. And sometimes you don't even know what you might be gambling or what you might be risking. It might be risking a friendship. It might be risking, I don't know, something you might do in your spare time. For example, like, oh, I spend a lot of time in this hobby and it might elevate me to do other further things in life. I might be risking that and saying, do you know what, I wanna take time to experience and explore this relationship. So if you feel like it's worth it, go there. But remember, and you have to make sure you hold that L of losing that friendship and know what the consequences are when you lose that friendship. So only do it if you truly believe that this is a match. If not, if not, then boy, that's your own headache.
I know.
Yeah. I think so. Like I think that, because at the end of the day, like it's not every day that you have a spark with someone. And if by chance, you know, there's someone you used to go out with when you were 18 and now everyone is 28, and your friend and this guy, they meet again and they have this genuine spark, I just feel like it would be selfish if...
Selfish to who?
I feel that you, as the 18-year-old that briefly dated this guy...
Are you trying to say you want to date my ex? Rita, where are you going?
No. I'm just saying, like, 18 years, like you being upset about a guy who you briefly went out with when you were 18, you're now 28, and you're upset that your friend...
Do you know what?
I think that's ridiculous.
But some people take it that far, though.
No, you need to go sit down.
I guess it is a matter of, like, context, and there are different levels.
Yeah.
So obviously, like, I guess when it comes to girl code, rather than it just being like an overarching rule, I think it's a question of context. Like, when did I date the person? Were we close to getting engaged? Did we just date for a week? Did I fall madly, deeply in love with them? Were they the love of my life in my eyes, or were they just someone that I'm over? Like, there's a lot of context to consider. But with that said, I also think that human nature is quite interesting, and I think that ego leads us to believe we have ownership over people, and that's not the case. And I think that it's much easier said than done, because for exes that I've been deeply connected to, if my best friend was to say, oh, I really want to date him, would I be happy about it? No. But I think at the same time, there'll be an element of me that has to consider the fact that I do not own this person. I do not have ownership over this person. And I think this when we allow ego to enter into relationships, whether it's relationships or even friendships, it's unhelpful, because if a relationship is broken down, our goal should be moving on. And like I said, it's definitely easier said than done. But I think when it comes to...
I personally don't think that even if you were in that situation, you would be able to consider this context in the moment. Because if your best friend decides to start a relationship with your ex, you're going to tell me that your relationship with your best friend is going to stay the same.
Oh, it happens in Desperate Housewives. They were cool.
Oh my God. Rita.
No, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I am playing devil's advocate. Like,
True.
I do hear what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
If it's that's why, like, what Toni said is super important. Like, context is important. Like, is this girl your best friend? Like, obviously, like, your best friend,
agreed,
definitely would not go there.
Your inner circle.
They wouldn't go there unless, like, the emotions were, like, it was just like, nah, this guy is the one for me. And it's like, I have to do this. I can't sleep. Like, he's all I'm thinking about. Like, he's my husband. Like, I have to talk to my best friend about this. Yo, I'm really sorry, but we're in love. Do you know what I mean? If it's serious. But if it's just a friend, like, just someone that, you know, you guys are cool. Like, when you guys see each other, you take selfies together. You know, you put love-struck eyes on each other's pictures on Instagram. You might have a little chat here and there.
Oh, but girls sometimes... so fake.
No, but girls be doing that though. But girls be doing that though. Like, they be making sure that they're, like...
friends with everyone.
Yeah,
so you can't touch the ex.
So the guy can't go there, but... that doesn't mean anything think to me personally,
but do you know what though?
Like, decorate my IG with love struck.
Do you know what? I do agree. I do agree with Toni and you ladies in the sense that there should be context. There is context. I'm very much solid that my immediate circle though, like my core group of friends, I think girl code definitely has to be exhausted. When it comes to females outside of that circle, then for me, like if I'm not speaking to you every day and we don't have that connection where we're getting deep and we're getting raw about certain issues, then I don't expect you to give me that loyalty, and perhaps I might not give that loyalty back to you.
So Mercedes, if I had an ex,
I think guys, they're not doing context. Like I have been in situations. No, I think the bro code is strong. Like I personally, for me, I would start talking to a guy, and because he knows who my ex is, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just
I don't have dated the same girl.
No, I think it's excuse.
We're from the same ends.
I know many guys. I feel like if they like you enough, it will definitely. They don't care.
I haven't come across guys that are willing to break that bro code.
I have, and I think also it's like when you talk about inner circle, I think context applies there too, because like for example, would my best friend, if she said that she wanted to date my immediate ex, like the penultimate one, as opposed to when I met 7-8 years ago, that might be different. So I think again, like if for example my ex said she wanted to date my first serious boyfriend, like I honestly would not have an issue with it. In fact, I'd query why she wanted to do it, but I'd be like, okay, cool, if that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't have an issue with it. So I think even within your immediate circle, context can apply. But I think ultimately, it's a matter of communication. I think girl code means more to me if you just go and do things, and those things you think have a possibility or potential to hurt me, and you never query it. I think the girl code isn't so much about the act as opposed to the communication. I think girl code applies with approaching me and saying, you know what, Toni, this is really difficult to say, but I want to have a conversation with you about something. This is how I feel about it. And then I can share how I feel about it. Then I could ask, okay, why is it that this person is the person you want to go for? Do you feel uncomfortable about it? And I can tell you why I feel uncomfortable about it. And I think girl code for me is not girl code, it's communication code. Like as my friend, you should be able to communicate how you feel, and I should be able to communicate how I feel, even if I'm unhappy about it, even if you are concerned about it, even if it's something that I'm angry about, I should be able to tell you, and you should be able to listen and to kind of like really understand why and weigh up your options. And I think that is like the ultimate goal code. I think it's bad when you're in a group of friends and you go and do things without consulting your friend, and you know deep down it could hurt your friend. But I think the consultation is the most important part. Now, when it comes to dating an ex, that's where you have to like review the layers of the context. Like, okay, as my friend, do you also feel comfortable with the fact that I've slept with this person? Do you also feel comfortable with the fact that this person's mother still calls me? So there's like a two-way thing to like review. But I do think like as you become more of an adult, because I have a question for you, Mercedes, like because I agree there's two sides to the coin, because I'm not anti and I'm not pro.
I think you're being very idealistic about the loyalty and the level of respect that somebody is going to give you because they want to see somebody that you used to see.
Some people,
I don't think I'm being idealistic.
Work in this situation. I'm not.
I don't think I'm being idealistic. I think this is a reflection of. Because I don't think I'm being idealistic, because we talked about best friends. I think this is a reflection of the kind of friendships I have with my friends. So I don't think it's so much being idealistic. I'm thinking about my relationship with my best friend.
100%. Like my core is literally made up of about 3 to 4 girls. I personally wouldn't expect those 3 to 4 girls to
call you.
I just don't think we'd have those conversations. Girls outside of that, cool, granted. If you feel like you owe me a conversation, that's fine. But I really do think before they're trying to have that conversation with you, the flirting has already been done. They've already started the conversation.
Okay, so this is where we differ. This is where we differ. Outside of my close friends, I don't care who wants to date my ex. I don't own him. Do you see what I mean? Like outside, if you are my best friend, if you are my close friend, that's where we're having the conversation because you're my close friend. If you're outside of like the girls I count on one hand, why am I dictating who you're dating? I'm not your mother. I do not own this man. You are free to date whoever you want to date. And I've seen firsthand grown men who have dated people, and following that, their friend has dated the same person or gone on to marry the same person. Now, that marriage would have never occurred if they were like, you can't date this person because I dated them. If you are not my best friend and if you are not in my immediate circle, you are free to do whatever you want to do. I may not like it because of ego, but I have no right to tell you to stop because we're kind of friends.
I think that's the difference. If I saw that somebody outside of my immediate circle, but let's say it's still within my network, who still has my number or whatever, was dating my ex, it's not a confrontation thing. Absolutely not. But I'm just going to look at you sideways. And I personally don't know if the relationship will feel the same, especially if, let's say, you haven't felt the need to have that conversation with me and to give me that, FYI.
But Mercedes, your feelings would be valid though. I think even with everything that Tony is saying, I don't think Tony, would you move funny or just I'm going to keep my distance? Do that.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, I would. Yeah, go on.
I think your instinctive reaction would be to keep your distance on the basis of, you know what, I had a relationship with both these people. I don't feel the need to witness that. Or on the basis of but I think this is probably, do you know what's skewing this conversation? What's skewing this conversation is how we review friendships also. Because literally, I can count my close friends on one hand, right? I've always been like that.
Agreed.
So I think if someone has a lot of acquaintances or a lot of people they consider friends, this is a very difficult topic to discuss. But with someone like me, I have a handful of friends. Outside of that, I don't really care about what you do. Do you know what I mean? But that's because of how I am and how I operate my friendship. So I think that's this, you will never come to an agreement as long as people have different types of friendship circles, because some people have hundreds of friends. Someone like me might have 5 friends. Other people have thousands of friends. Other people consider everyone a friend. I don't consider everyone a friend. So what they do doesn't impact me to the same degree.
I'm gonna put a devil's advocate here. All right, so we are not in your immediate core. But we have a friendship and we have a dynamic that allows us to explore different conversations in different depths and vulnerabilities, right? So if I told you that I fancied and wanted to explore a relationship with your ex, what are you saying?
Do you? And I'll give you... I'll give you... No. But you have to remember, Mercedes, I'm in a relationship. I'm in a new relationship.
I get it.
Now, what does that signify? What does that signify if I say don't go there? And what does that say to my boyfriend now if I say, you can't date my ex? I'm in a very happy, fulfilled relationship. So if you want to date my ex...
What if you weren't in a relationship?
You know what? It would probably sting more, but in my head, I don't own the man. I just want to see him happy. I do not own him. But again, I think this is a reflection. I think this is very skewed because the relationship I have with my ex is very unlike a lot of relationships people have with their exes. That guy, we are friends. You know what I mean? That guy is someone that I will always be friends with, and he will always be friends with me. And I have the utmost respect for him. And ultimately, I know all he wants is to see me happy. Even when I got in a new relationship, he was happy for me. The same way, if he gets in a new relationship, I'll be happy for him. So I think this is also skewed by the type of relationships we have with people. The kind of relationship I have with my ex is not one that is got turmoil, or the foundation is rocky, or it's just not like that. It's more based on
Hold on.
See, this is the thing. I want to see my ex happy, but I don't want to see him with Rita. Rita, if you go near my ex, honestly, there's no heels up anymore.
It really doesn't need to be that. I personally just think okay, I respect that, everybody has different types of friendships and different expectations of the loyalty that we're going to give to one another, 100%. But I guess for me personally, I just know that I couldn't do that to somebody that somebody who's close to me.
I would still want whoever my ex, whatever, to be happy. But I feel like my emotions that I would feel would still be valid.
Let's be honest.
My emotions would be valid. I would still feel away if I saw someone who was in, you know, even if it's not even a really close friend, like my feelings are my feelings, even if it's someone who I consider an acquaintance, I'd still be like, why her? Or like, do you know what I mean? You'd still be like,
but
why?
it doesn't need to be confrontation.
I know this person. It doesn't need to be confrontation.
It doesn't need to be confrontation.
And I feel like everyone is different at the end of the day. Tony may not feel away. I might feel away. And that's still completely fine. I guess it's just how you process and understanding your own emotions and being honest. So I would definitely say, you don't own that person. We don't own anyone. That is the truth. And a lot of people still need to get over that, because some people think like, you know, I've slept with that person, I own them, or I've dated that person for like 2.5 days, I own that. No, you don't. You don't own any of these people. But if you've had an emotional relationship with that person, you will still feel a type of way if you see them with someone else who is within your circle to some degree. And I think as long as you're just honest with how you feel, then that should be fine. But just understand that if that person is close to you and you don't really want to continue that friendship or whatever it is that you have with that person, that is completely valid as well. I'm sorry, but I would not want to try and still be friends with someone that my ex has now decided to be with and they're kind of like in my circle. I wouldn't want to see it. I don't want to be...
And can I just clarify something as well? And it's not that I'm saying that I wouldn't feel away or don't feel away. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, like, I've been trying very hard as I've grown up to like train myself to strip my ego out of situations, because what I find is when our ego centers situations, we are reactionary, or things bother us to a state that it's like we don't need in our lives. And I suffer from like quite extreme anxiety. So for me, I've had to work on just saying, you know what? This is it. Let me try and be zen. It's not that deep. So I think one, it's part of like training myself. And two, would I feel away? Like 100% it's normal to feel away. But what I'm saying, because I don't want people to like think, oh no, she wouldn't, like she's pretending she wouldn't care. Like obviously you'd care, but I try very hard to try and rationalize the fact that I do not own people. And I think when you have left a relationship, will there always be some sort of connection to that person? Like ultimately, yes, especially if you were with them as an adult. But I think when you continue to allow that connection to hold on to you throughout life, throughout your new relationships, it's unhealthy. And I get like people saying, oh yeah, but close friends, this, that, differentiate. I would like to think that if I'm 40 years old and I am married, that if any of my friends said, can I be with one of your exes? I would want to hope that I am so happy I would not care. Do you see what I mean? So like, I'm not saying don't care. Like it's very normal to care, but I'm just saying like when you try your very best to strip ego out of it, then it becomes a bit easier to rationalize, because you just realize, you know what? I don't know that person. And even like, say I flipped it. I would like to think that I got to a stage, like there are, what is it? How many billion? 6 billion people in the world. So I would like to think that I would never feel the need to date someone who's connected to my ex. But say, for example, I have an ex and he has a friend, and across a decade, him and the friend and I get close. And I think, you know what? This is someone I really want to be with. I would like to think that my ex is also in a place where he feels like he has no ownership over me, and he can tell me how he feels about it, but ultimately it's, you know what,
your decision,
this is how I feel, it's awkward, but yeah, it's your decision, I just want you to be happy even though it's awkward for me. Now, will he still want to be around in his friend's life? Likely no, because he has to see that, and that will probably be weird for him. But that's not to say it's like oh, you can't do it because I used to date Tony and you can't date Tony. Do you see what I mean? Like, I just think like the minute I apply my ego to like aspects of my life or dilemmas in my life is when I start stressing unnecessarily or just making mountains out of molehills. And I've just realized, you know what? Every person is an island, really. They can do what they want to do.
And ultimately, you probably don't really care. It is just an ego thing. Like, because if this is an ex, you guys broke up for a reason. You don't want to be with him anymore. So ultimately, you deep down, you don't want him anymore. You know it's not going to work. But maybe just the idea of it working with someone else, and it happens to be someone you know.
Is scary.
That's where the issue really is. So really, when it gets down to it, like it's definitely an ego thing. So once you strip the ego thing, and you're like, I don't even care. Like even if this guy was to walk up to me right now, I can never be with him again. So why am I holding on to him? You probably won't care. In the beginning, it will definitely be uncomfortable, but you just probably would just move on from it and just be like, do you know what? It is what it is. And you just keep it moving.
And make sure you don't bring any of your new guys around them because clearly they can't behave.
I mean, for me, it's like, I feel though.
But you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know there's some girls you can't bring your guys around.
Yeah, but that's a whole
That's another
this one loves man too much.
Yeah.
I just feel though
that
I feel like that there is a tinge whereby it seems that it's a lot easier to disregard girl code and allow people to fall in love with who they want to fall in love with if you have happily moved on. So I think are you saying that, okay, if I've moved on, then why should I feel any type of way if they want to do what they want to do? Because I honestly think that if you were single and you were witnessing it happening right before you, yes, there will be ego there, but your feelings will be hurt.
Of course. No, your feelings will
definitely
be hurt.
No one's disputing, but no one's disputing that at all. Nobody is disputing that. It's a normal emotional reaction for your feelings to be hurt. But
so basically, we're saying that girl code doesn't exist.
No, it does exist. Look, I think girl code does exist, yeah. But I'm just saying, realistically, the way this life
happens... How does it exist?
Because you shouldn't ask me. I think there's certain questions you shouldn't ask me
I think that... Hold on. I just think that if it, like, I'm not going to deliberately, like me personally, I'm not going to deliberately start talking to a guy that my friend has been with. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to just deliberately make it happen. What my argument is that if, like, it just, certain things just happen. Like, if, I don't know, maybe they started working together and they started spending time together, or it's years later and they just happened to meet again. Maybe I watched too many films. I don't know, but it just like, I just feel like there's some things that's beyond our control. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, I find him attractive and I just want to know what he's like and I just want to feel him or whatever. I'm not talking that. I'm talking like, if your friend legit just fell in love, like, and they're just in love, like, I've heard so many stories, like Tony said, of like, I heard this story of a lady who she was with this guy for years and they were having problems. She used to talk to the best friend just to like, to vent and all of that stuff. And years later, they ended up getting married and having kids. Like, and the guy, what can the guy say? Like, he just has to keep it moving because they fell in love.
It's also to do with loyalty as well. Because
in that situation, it didn't exist. But I would never expect that from my...
we be talking about this friendship thing, yeah, but sometimes even some of these friendships, they don't even last anywhere and people be sacrificing their love for a friend that a year from now, you're not even friends anymore. Like, 5 years. Like, we're adults now. Like,
it could, but the thing is though,
that's what it comes down to.
I think ladies, we're basically saying that girl code doesn't exist.
No, I do think it exists.
I think it should exist.
I think it exists. I think that ideally would like it to exist. But I think ideally would like it to exist. Yeah. But I think the older we get, the more life just happens and it may not exist the way we would like it to. I've been playing devil's advocate. I personally, like I said before, let me just be clear. I personally would not go after a guy that's been with my friend, blah, 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 blah. I would avoid that situation as much as possible. But what I do know is that the older you get, things just happen. And, it could happen. I just think it could happen. And you would just have to weigh it up. And just
I definitely think it could.
I definitely feel like that just because we say... Because Mercedes is saying girl code doesn't exist. I think like it's important to remember.
I'm saying based on what I'm hearing.
I feel
it feels like it doesn't exist.
You can stick to a rule like 500 times. Just because you don't do it for 501 doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. You've abided by those rules for a very long time. Okay, is it something that's always going to happen? Yes.
So is
you
girl
might have
code
that one time.
Personal or is it universal?
Personal. I would say personal.
So girl code. There is not a universal girl code amongst women.
Me, I don't know. To me, I've never thought, girl code. For me, like I said earlier, it's just like a communication code. Like if I'm close to you, regardless of gender, like if I'm close to you and you're doing something that you think has the potential to hurt me, I would like there to be some open discussion about it. But there's no like, in my mind, there's no, because you're a girl and you know me and you know the person I dated, and because you're a girl and you know me, you cannot do X, Y, Z. Like that doesn't apply in my life. Like, have I ever dated the ex of someone I know? No, I haven't. But that doesn't mean because I haven't, I'm gonna like disallow people from doing that. For me, it's just like a communication thing. Like just being a civil, nice human being and talking about things that you think could hurt another person.
I'm not going to be like, but why haven't you done it? Why haven't you done it? Because I respect that you're basically saying like if there is an allowance for it, whether it's based on circumstances, whether it's based on context, you do you. But why haven't you done it? Why have you not crossed any boundaries like that? Like what is that internal? Is that an internal rule? Is there an internal conviction that just makes you think, I'd rather pass? Like personally, what is it?
Mine is loyalty. I just feel like I'm loyal, and I feel like for me, the way I'm set up is you don't look at your friend's man that way. There's nothing you two need to have in common. It should just stick to, hey, you good?
Yeah,
you better be taking care of my friend. When are you gonna marry her? That's that. I can't be asking a guy, when are you gonna marry my friend? And then the next day, oh yeah, me and him have been talking. We've been talking. How did we? I don't even get comfortable. In my opinion, you should not even be in a room to get comfortable. That comfortable or that familiar
That's
with
what I was
someone.
say.
If her man follows me, I'm probably gonna block and unblock, so we're not following each other. That's how far away.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this is my loyalty. That's how because I don't want my name to ever come up in conversation, or she was liking somebody's picture, she was doing this. No, I wasn't. You stay your own way, I stay my own way. Even if we start working together, it will be us talking about your own dating life, but, nothing to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, there will be no room for us to be like, oh, we should go out one night. No, we really shouldn't.
Yeah, because you know what? Yeah, men are mad. Yeah, men are completely mad.
Did your ex come along as well?
No, men are mad, and this is why. Like, I remember when I was younger, when I had this kind of situation where my friend's boyfriend was super cool with me, and he just was too cool.
That's why us girls need to stick together, man.
I was like, listen, I stay in my corner, you stay in your corner. I'm not interested. I don't look at you. So there's none of my friends, guys, who I'm actually into. Like, I don't even look at them like that. As soon as they become my friend's boyfriend, you are bro. How are you, my brother? How are you, bro?
Even.
I think for me, that's quite similar. Like, if you've dated my friend, I see you almost like in a brotherly way. And then also, I don't personally like the thought of being intimate with someone who's being intimate with one of my close friends. But that doesn't mean that everyone is the same as me and that I hold the same rule for everyone else. Like, I don't like the thought of being intimate with someone who's been intimate with my friend. But if another girl knows me and she wants to date my ex, like, I can't apply that rule of thumb to everybody. Like, everyone lives by a different code of conduct. Now, does it mean they are wrong? Like, that's why I say there's like very, very fine lines. But like, I wouldn't do it on the basis of just how I perceive the guy connected to my friend. And with that said, like I said earlier, I only have a select group of friends. So that's not really that many guys to choose from. It's like, a handful of guys that I not my type anyway. Like, but I think that it's very easy for us to think, I'm set up this way. I would never do this. You should never do this. So everyone has to be exactly the same. Yeah. And then we hold people by that same rule book. And sometimes we don't review context. We don't review time spans. We don't review how they met them. We don't review whether they've actually, like, for example, like there's been situations on social media where people have found out like, oh, this girl used to date this boy and now she's dating this boy who's his friend. But like, do you ever stop to think, what was the context in that situation? Maybe the last boyfriend was really nasty to her and really, really horrible to her. And maybe the new boyfriend, like,
and she found comfort in him. She found comfort in him. Shit just happens. Yeah.
Now, maybe he was the buff one as well.
And it's like, does that make the person an awful person for doing that? Like, not necessarily. And does it make the guy awful?
I think it's all to do with everyone's moral compass at the end of the day. It's all to do with your moral compass. How is your moral compass seen? And I think if your mentality is similar to your friends, it also helps. If your friend also lives by the same
you won't have certain problems.
Exactly, because a lot of people be having friends who don't value the friendship the same.
Exactly.
Who probably don't even take your relationship that you had with that person seriously. You could be like, that was my ex for 2 years. They'll be like, that's small 2 years. Is that it? Like, do you know what I mean? So it goes back to what Toni says. You know, in terms of communication.
I think to summarize, for me personally, amongst my close friends, there is a girl code. Whether it's said or unsaid, I think based on just the value system that we have and the respect that we have amongst ourselves, the boundaries that we create when we do have boyfriends or we do have situationships or whatever.
Wait, you're having situationships? Mercedes, come on.
Right, sit down.
What do you mean?
Situationship.
If I've got if I'm in a situationship with whatever
but you know what?
my best friend's still not gonna go there.
Low key.
Wait, you lot didn't allow me to summarize my girl code.
No, you're right. But can I just say something? Actually, I take back my reaction because you know what? Sometimes
I just want to situationship.
What was the outrage?
Wait. I want to take back my outrage personally because I feel like situationships can be a bit deeper than relationships.
No, it's true. It is true.
They are so much. They can be messier, but your emotions are more involved. Just because labels aren't on it doesn't mean that what you're feeling isn't as deep as if someone.
I'm just shocked that I was bamboozled as I was summarizing my situationship.
When I hear situationship, I just think you're not serious. Like it's an unserious thing.
We forget
you're right. They really are deep.
We need to talk about situationships because as much as
what about sex though? What if you're sleeping with someone? What about sleeping with someone? What about if you're sleeping with someone, Mercedes? If you're sleeping with someone, can I sleep with them as well?
I would like to summarize my girl code. Okay,
you have guys? Yes or no? Yes or no?
That is for another episode. I would like to conclude that in my immediate friendship group, there is probably what I would call girl code. Whether it's said or unsaid, we just have value, respect, and boundaries amongst ourselves. I've definitely heard you though in regards to like the outer network of friendships. You know, if they're gonna come to you woman to woman to say that they're linking your ex, nice, but do they need to? Probably not, but it would be nice, you know?
And just as a caveat, I think everyone has respect and trust and all those great things in their friendship circles. So it was just a question of whether we have a right to people as owning them or right to them even in future. But I think all of us, across all our friendships, we have that. 100%. And we all have respect for each other's past, present and future. It's just a question of whether we actually have ownership of people.
Hey guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe. If you're not following us on socials, make sure you follow us at HeelsOffUK and join in the conversation using the hashtag HeelsOffUK.